Chris Spears says that we have us a shortage. Well, but if 450,000 CDLs were issued. How is that even possible? You don't have a driver problem. You've got a dignity problem. That's what I'm telling you. What if I told you the real cure to the driver shortage isn't in some campaign, it isn't some job fair or influencer promo. It's in simple terms, and it's easy to solve. Because when you raise the standards, that's simple. When you raise the standards, drivers don't leave. They line up. Stay tuned, because what we're about to show you is going to flip the script on everything the ATA wants you to believe. See, the system today, it's got this wild idea that younger drivers are the fix. That if we just grab enough 20-somethings off of TikTok and slap them in a lease truck and promise freedom, the cycle will just magically heal itself, right? Well, I submit to you that's not the way it works. What you get is rinse and repeat. A generation turned off by false promises and a revolving door spinning faster than freight in a downturn. You want the cure? Start where the wisdom lies. Invest in the ones who've done the miles, the ones who know what it costs to run a week. Not just what it pays per mile, but what it costs to get the job done. That's not just retention, it's resurrection. Chris Spears, hear me. The people in this industry know the solution, not you. You speak for the big guys, I speak for the little guys. This so-called shortage could end tomorrow if you just raise the standards. And we've got the numbers to prove it, so stick around, because what I'm about to show you next, well, it's not just opinion. Greetings to you, truck lovers and truth seekers from all across the United States of Truckin. BossMan here behind the golden TIB microphone. This is Truckin' Headlines. Critical thinking fueled by faith and sanctioned by God himself. Opinion fit for today's truckers, built by truckers, and the collaborative think tank for advanced trucking journalism. I welcome your opinions. Call our studio line 860-785-3547 throughout this show. Love to chat with you and talk with you about Chris Spears' insidious campaign on a trucker shortage that don't exist. But first, before I do that, I want to just kind of give you an update. I've been dependent on getting this channel off the ground by making videos, and a lot of them are pretty good. They're well thought out, well-researched opinion. And I take pride in turning out a quality product. I want to put forth every chance I can an environment where you, the person watching me, can put forth an honest conversation about the things that affect trucking today. So what I've done is, because I'm so busy running a truck, I run full time, just like you. I've decided to make a change in my schedule. So you're going to notice now more live shows throughout the week. Those I have time to do because I can actually sit down and engage and talk with you. The editing, on the other hand, I don't have time for. So expect more live shows and maybe a few less videos. More chance to interact with you. More chance to actually get to hear from you. So while we're on the topic of hearing from you, if you would like to support this channel and help us grow, I encourage you, look into our memberships. Probably have one in the audience tonight that's part of our premier Ditto Head membership. Griff, USMC, if you're watching, if you're in part of the audience, welcome to the show. Do like him, join. I give priority access and early responses and replies when you comment on my videos. I actually pay more attention and give you guys early access to the videos that I create. Now, they might only be one or two a week, but nonetheless, you'll see them sooner than everybody else. Then we have our elite memberships, which I'm currently in the middle of building our first monthly newsletter. I encourage you, become a member, join our elite or Ditto Head memberships. I look forward to engaging you in conversation. On the headlines tonight, talking about Chris Spear and the ATA, banking on something you never look into. They've been marching around Washington with this headline number of 78,000 drivers short, screaming it from podiums and position papers like it's gospel. But according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the truth tells a different story. There's over 240,000 truck job openings every year. But they're not from growth. They're from people quitting, walking away, hanging up the keys, retiring, doing what they normally do. And here's the nail in the coffin. More than 450,000 new CDLs were issued last year. You heard me say in the open, I'm going to repeat that. 450,000 new CDLs were issued last year. Now, grant you could sit here and debate it all day long, whether half of them or 90% of them were foreign-based or non-foreign-based. Whole different video. We'll have that conversation later. But that's not a pipeline issue. That's a people issue. It's a trust issue. Because on one hand, you've got the ATA saying we're short. On the other, you've got the Bureau of Labor Statistics telling you that we've got nearly 500,000 drivers put through the mill last year. So Chris Spear keeps pushing this narrative, not because it's true, but because it's profitable for the people who pay him to keep saying it. Realize once again who Chris Spear is. Chris Spear is a man working at the ATA representing the major mega carriers, the major corporate influences in trucking. He does not represent the individuals, the independents like you and me. That so-called shortage gives cover for the big money donors that help his organization stay afloat, to give the wage increases, to avoid the reforms, to keep running the machine exactly the way it's always worked up until and including today. So unless you're a dues-paying member, you don't get the benefits of the good old boys club. You get the bill. Now let's talk turnover, because mega fleets are running at 92% turnover rate. That's not a statistic. That's a strategy. And some folks are walking up and saying it plain. They go up to the podiums and they say, and I quote, the likely outcome of a high turnover is artificial lowering of wage pressure from a large disposable volume of inexperienced labor. Let that one sink in for a minute. They don't want seasoned veterans, people like you and I that have been in the industry for years, that know the ins and outs, where to go, when to say no. They want constant churn, cheap onboarding, and no accountability. So let me break it down. You don't have a pipeline problem. You've got a leakage crisis, a self-made crisis, one they created, one they profit from, and one they blame you for. Let's take a minute and go around the panel. I've got a panel of guests with me, and let's talk about some things tonight, because not only do I have the panel, but I've also got a couple of crafty ideas to talk with you guys about. It comes to about a solution. So stick around if you want to hear my thoughts. 5 ideas of ways we can solve this problem. Look forward to letting you guys know about it. So let's bring the panel on. Let's have a little chat and see what's going on in trucking today. Good evening, Bumper. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Great if I could figure my layouts. There we are. All right. So if over 450,000 CDLs were issued last year, why do you think the ATA still calls it a shortage? Aside from what I just said, what do you think?
Nobody wants to work. They get their CDL because the government pays for it.
You really think that's it? I mean, come
I
on.
do. I mean, it's free
We
money. Would you go after free money?
Well, I don't think there's many people that would say no to that, but think about it. We've got over 3.5 million, statistically speaking, whether that's accurate or not, another video, but let's go with the numbers we know. 3.5 million drivers. And if every year we're churning out almost 500,000, What's the score? What's the deal? Why
Well,
are people not working?
people are thinking getting into trucking is you know, like you said earlier, you do whatever you want. They can fill you up with these hopes and dreams and stuff, and then they actually get into a truck. And this younger generation, they want to start a family, they want to do this, and they realize they can't do that in a truck, so they get out of it.
So you think the whole thing is an over TikTokification of the industry? Is that what you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It takes a dedicated person to be in a truck, to be away from your family,
it
to
does.
do what you need to do. I mean, good example. I've been sitting in Rapid City since Tuesday waiting for a load.
Right.
I called dispatch today. I'm like, hey, can I come back to the shop? You know, I'm bored as hell and da 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 da. And you know, it's really sad. You know what my dispatch said to me?
What did I say?
No, you could sit there till Sunday. If you're that bored, polish your truck.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That
So
is
it does. I mean, it sucks. Yes, right now I'm in my slow season.
yeah,
So I mean, generally we would have loads 7 days a week and this and that. But what I specialize in, which is cattle, we're we're slow right now. Cattle's not moving so fast
yeah,
right at the moment. So
yeah,
so yeah, I mean it does. It takes a dedicated person. I mean, I'm 6 hours away from my house. I could
yeah.
go home. I could go spend time with
Good,
my family, but
good. Yeah,
if a load pops up on Sunday, I miss out on that load because I'm six
yeah.
hours away.
Yeah. 860-785-3547. If you would like to get in on the conversation and be live on the air, we welcome the call. Good evening, Grumpy. How is things in Oklahoma?
Oh, pretty hot. Pretty hot.
Yeah.
He's talking about it's 72 degrees over here all day.
Mm-hmm.
Not here. It's in the high 90s.
Tomorrow it's supposed to be in the upper 80s. It's going to be pretty warm out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Grumpy, if you think nearly a 500,000 CDLs were issued, do you think that we're talking about just the overglorification of an industry, in that the younger guys are being told a story and they're finding out firsthand they were lied to, or do you think there's something else at play here?
Well, that statistics based off of CDLs only. It's not saying whether they're all Class A, Class B, So, you got a lot of these people that are going in and getting their Class A's and they're driving Class B stuff like mixer trucks and trash trucks, stuff like that, because they want to be home every day.
Right.
Um, that they'd like to drive a Class A local, but most places that want you to drive Class A local, they're not going to hire you because you don't got no experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd have to
Yeah.
say that it's a possibility that they're just going by the numbers of how many people have acquired a CDL,
Well,
and they're not
think
looking
about the
at
other
where
number.
they're at.
Think about the other number that I mentioned to start at the opening script: 240,000 job openings. You
Yeah.
can't tell me that people can't find work. Part of me thinks it's the companies being selective about who they hire.
Yeah, you got that one. You hit it right on the nail's head. Yes,
Yeah.
because I've been trying to find work for the last couple of weeks, and every one of them I've gotten out. I did have one that was interested in me, but the problem is I'd have to drive my personal vehicle, which I don't have,
Yeah.
2.5 hours away just to go to work every week, and then drive for them, and then drive all the way back home when I go home for my days
Right.
off. And
But on another video, I also did mention that there's over 500,000 carriers across the country. You can't tell me that with all those carriers, there's not a possibility of being able to find work. So you keep hanging in there, Grumpy. You'll find work. I know you will. It's just
oh
a
yeah,
matter of the right call and it's a matter of the right situation. So, Dollar, good
precisely.
evening. Welcome to the show. Glad you can make it.
Evening, boss man. How are you?
I'm doing excellent myself. Mega fleets currently run about a 92% turnover rate. This, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Do you think it's bad management, or do you think it's an intentional strategy? What do you think?
I think it's piss poor wages.
Do you think it's strictly wages?
everything else is strictly wages. When your groceries go up 20%, gas is higher than it's normally been.
Mhm.
You know, tires for your vehicles and everything are costing more. What do you expect? If they promise you money that you can make this amount of money and you don't make any money,
Mhm.
how can you pay your bills?
It's very true. This is very true.
Plus, you know, how else are they going to make money above if they don't keep reselling them trucks to drivers?
Well, I think that's only part of the argument, though. I mean, it's there. I mean, if you're a mega carrier, again, remember your aim is to put butts in seats. So that 92% would kind of go against that, don't you think?
Not
I mean,
really,
obviously,
because
that's why I
how,
said bad management, because if you're having that high of a turnover rate, there's something wrong with the business model.
yes, to a point, but 92% is for what? Why are they leaving? Is it because of wages? Is it because of management?
Yeah.
What is it for?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you guys think, or give us a call. Studio line 860-785-3547. Join the conversation. Let us know what you think. Do you think it's bad management, or do you think there's another combination of factors we just haven't figured out? Let us know in the comments. Give us a call on the studio line. Let us hear your thoughts. I'm gonna move on to a little bit of proof in the idea that we're hitting close to the edge of the argument. I got a couple of things I'm going to bring up on script and off script. So let's take a look at what we've talked about tonight and expose it. Let's validate it. Not with speculation, not with opinions, but with the industry itself. All right. Earlier, I referenced a July article from trucker.com. Said the title of the article is "It's Time to Rethink Your Recruiting Strategies." Today's truck drivers are younger and more ethically diverse. And it's a smooth read. It's plenty of charts, forwarding quotes, everything you need to know. But underneath all that polished language is Exhibit A and what I think is really broken. Here's what the article makes clear. The average trucker is now 47 years old, aging out rather quickly. The older are getting older faster, and the youngers, they're interested. All right. Millennials and Gen Zs hold just 38% of the CDLs, despite being over half the workforce. All right. Women still represent under 4%. They're trying their damnedest. They're trying to put more women in the workforce, but still that magic number's 4. CDL issues is steady, but retention, as Dollar referenced a minute ago, black hole. Mega fleets are still bleeding talent after 90 days. No one's fixing the churn. And yet, here's where the story turns from facts into fiction. Some of the very leaders in this industry, ATA backed voices and such, are still pushing this fantasy fix. Quote, "We just need more 18-year-olds and open the gates to interstate travel." Okay, that's it. Really? That's your big idea? How's that supposed to work in an industry where insurance carriers won't even touch a driver until they've had 3 years of experience? Tell me that one, Einstein. They can't rent a car, but you want them to haul a 53-foot trailer down the highway in I-80 in February without the right experience. Who's thinking up these damn schemes anyway? This isn't innovation, it's insanity. And here's the other thing. Another creator pointed out that I want to dovetail on. You put an 18-year-old behind the wheel of a semi. You can put them to work for the mega carriers. Why? Because they're self-insured. But the moment a small independent carrier like you or me tries to run them with our numbers, our insurance companies won't even touch them. We can't use them. So this brainchild idea, guess who it favors? Mega carriers. So this proves the entire conversation that I've been having and started tonight that's been hijacked by a bunch of people who've never once stood on a fuel island or let alone signed a lease on a truck. This article from the truck released all the data we need to fix the system, but it stopped short of connecting the dots. Why? because the fix is inconvenient. It's convenient for the mega carriers, but it ain't helping anybody else. It's not flashy. It's not trending. It just requires one thing. The thing I suggest requires that we raise the standards. And again, stick around because toward the end of the show, I'm going to tell you my idea of raising the standards. You want women to sign up? Give them safety. You want Gen Z to stay past orientation? Start paying for the hours they actually work. You want secondhand applications? You know, people from, you know, less advantaged lives like criminals and stuff like that. Give them a reason to stay and make sure they can do it safely. Foster the youth or the veterans. Fix your credentialing nightmares. Stop punishing people that have poor paths with poor policy. See, all of this I'm mentioning is in theory. It's common sense. And when you do that, turnover slows, profits rise, lawsuits drop, drivers stick around, and your company becomes one people actually want to work for. So, of all you guys in the panel and those watching, tell me if you think I've missed anything. Because if you think I have, stick around. Next segment, we're gonna dive a little deeper into this. But Thumper, what do you think? Did I miss something, or is there? I mean, like, where there's smoke, there's fire. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I just think they're just trying to push more people into the industry that really don't need to be in this industry.
No. You got to remember, got to have a weak mind and a strong back.
Well, that's everywhere you go, though.
Yeah, that's why we put 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds in a truck, because weak minds, strong back. They don't know any better. We can train them. You can't train the old dogs.
Well, what are you training them for? You're putting people in a truck that can't do the job and can't be insured. They're lynched to one company and useless because they're not going to conform. What 18-year-old do you know of is going to conform to a mega carrier set of policies, low pay? That's probably the large reason why we have the large churn that we do.
Not only
The low
that,
play, yeah,
well,
but
when you're 18 years old, you think you're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and you know everything.
Well, true. But what 18-year-old do you know of that actually conforms? I mean, hell, half the time, most 18-year-olds that go through boot camp have challenges just doing that. They don't like authority. At least today's 18-year-olds.
no. You got to remember, today's 18-year-olds have to go to a safe place.
Hey, there you go, right?
Yeah, the military's got green card and red cards.
Spend more
now,
time
so
in the
if you
bunk
get,
than they do on the road.
yeah.
So what do you think, Grumpy? I mean, would you support letting 18-year-olds drive interstate instead of intrastate? Because I said a while back, I thought it was a good idea to keep them in state borders. You want to hire an 18-year-old? Keep them in your state. Give them the experience they need. Then, once they've had that experience, then let them fly. But
That
the way
already
Chris Spear
happens.
wants to do it, they're wanting to let them fly interstate. What do you think, Grumpy?
No, because that mentoring thing we've talked about many times and over again has got to happen before they're able to go off and travel from state to state to state.
Yeah.
Because even those that live inside of states that have, like Colorado, for example, with all the mountains and stuff out there, that doesn't mean that they know how to handle a big truck and can drive, elsewhere with it. They might be able to be good out there.
Big difference between driving around Dallas, Texas versus Lakewood, Colorado.
Precisely.
I want to say hello to your lovely wife there watching us from the audience. Glad you joined us and piped up. Also want to say good hello to Thomas Rochester, new face in town. Glad you could join us. Glad you're feeling froggy. Guys, let me know what you think. If you're on board with this whole 18 or younger people. I know, look, we're aging out. We're getting older. We're having to replace a retiring workforce. I get that. But still, you have to be sensible about it. I mean, not long ago, it was required. I may be wrong on this, but I think it was required not long ago that you had to be over the age of 25. Now, until recently, they lowered that age to 21. I had problems with it then, but I could almost get along with it because you could take somebody, I think, from a young age. 18, I think, is pushing it. But the idea being is you start them out young and you build them into an experience. You build them up, and like Grumpy said, mentor them, show them the ropes, give them everything they need to succeed, rather than throw them at a mega carrier, which 9 times out of 10 ain't going to give a damn about them. They're not going to look for that safe space that Dollar was just referencing. They're going to beat them up and abuse them. Really, they're going to take advantage of it.
But
So,
what small company, when the insurance company still require them to be 25 in order to get lower premiums?
well, some of the insurance companies have kind of laxed that 2.5 thing and gone with just 3 years OTR. But see, that's the other thing too. Not everybody's getting the OTR experience.
Well,
That's tripping them up.
how do you get experience if you can't drive out of the state?
That's that old thing, chicken or the egg. How do you get experience if you can't get a job? How do you get a job without experience? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have the answer to that one? I don't think anybody's figured that out yet.
You need a small corporation, small company
Mhm.
to take a chance and insure you.
Yep.
And
Somebody take a chance, yeah.
when the insurance jumps $20,000 a year just because that guy's under the age of 25, right now with the way the rates are,
Yeah.
still running around in the 1980 rates, I can't
Yep.
afford to put anybody in there. Hell, I have a hard enough
Nobody
time if I tried to put Thumper on as a driver.
Yeah. Doesn't that make you feel good, Thumper? He's like, leave me out of this argument.
It don't bother me. It doesn't bother me because I understand where he's coming from.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you got to sit and think. I manage 7 trucks here. I got 3 of them that are sitting right now.
Yeah. And not to mention all the other equipment you've got. I mean, you've got quite the fleet, trailers and trucks.
Yeah.
So, in fact,
So,
you still
yeah.
have one. You still have one in the garage, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I still got a truck
Yeah.
that's all tore apart right now. I mean,
I seem to remember that.
it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense for me to put it together right now because for one, trying to find somebody with experience is a dime a dozen in my line of work.
That's true.
Or not a dime a dozen. It's a diamond in the rough. There you go.
That's the word you were looking for there. Yeah.
The thing is you can find people with the experience, but do they have the experience that you need them to have?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, of all the sectors, I mean, that's just the thing. You've got cattle, agriculture, you've got farm, you've got oil rigs, you've got flatbeds, you've got reefer, you've got dry van, specialized, oversized, deliveries, regional. I mean,
Well, wait,
there's so much.
look what we talked about on Sunday.
Yeah.
You know, my main issue with right now is it's hard for me to find a driver right now because you find somebody who says they have experience to find out that they don't, and then they get into a truck pulling the trailers we pull, and they get this ego.
Yeah.
And then you got to break them out of that ego because they think they need to do 100 mile an hour everywhere they go.
Yeah. And then before you know it, you've got one on the side. So.
Wait, we're not
or
supposed to
jumping
do
an
100 mile an
approach.
hour?
Well, you own your own truck. You could do whatever you want.
But I'm just saying, we're supposed to do 100 mile an hour? I thought we were supposed to do our job safely.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's when those egos kick in.
I think he's
Uh-huh.
messing with you, Thumper.
No, I know
can't
he.
tell, but
I
think
know
he's
he.
messing
No,
with you.
he's messing with me. I'm just not
Yeah.
biting right now.
Well, let me ask you this, Thumper. Do you think the driver pay should include all time work? For example, all detention, layovers, wait time. What's your take on that? That would be, I think, a valued part of the solution to what we're talking about.
Should I be getting paid for sitting here for a week? You're absolutely fucking right. I should be.
Because I mean, driver compensation, when you think about it, is 90% of a person's decision to stay or flee.
Yeah, it is.
You know.
Now Dollar's case right now, he's got 3 days to deliver a load. That's only 15 hours away. Should he get paid for sitting there? Like, even if he were to drive where he needs to go and then sit there and wait for 2, 3 days, should he get paid for that? Absolutely.
Mhm. Yep.
There's got to be a breaking line somewhere around here. And the
Well,
thing
it's been a. I was going to say that's been a large fight in the industry for about as long as I've been in here. I mean, and I think the biggest one of all that we've talked about is just simply detention.
yeah.
That's the biggest nail
But
biter.
but here I'm gonna put up a scenario, and I'm not gonna say the company or anything like this, but a buddy of mine who was on Hopper
Mhm.
sat in Woodland, Washington with a load on his trailer for 4 days. The company that he worked for said, "Yep, you're going to get detention," because the company they pulled a trailer for said, "Yes, you guys are getting detention pay or demurge, whatever you want to call it." And what I found out is that company that owned that trailer paid for that demurge because they do, the dispatching and everything.
Yeah.
But the owner of that company didn't pay the driver. He pocketed that money, and it came out to be like over $1,000.
Nice.
How is that fair to the driver?
It ain't. I'll tell you right now, it ain't.
So like, where as a driver, where do you draw that line? Maybe that's why there's a large turnovers, because they're not fully getting compensated for their sit time.
Right? That has a lot to do with it. Has an
Yeah.
awful lot to do with it.
And moral of that whole thing, I was just telling you that my buddy no longer works for that company anymore because of that situation, because it happened to him
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't blame him.
Yep. Yep.
But there are companies out there that I have another buddy work for. If he sits for more than 6 hours, they pay him $300 for
Yep.
sitting there.
Yep.
So there's good companies out there, there's bad companies out there. It just depends on who you get tied up with. Do your research.
Yep. Very true.
I don't want to do my research.
Well, you're old, crippled, and blind, so it don't matter.
Hey,
Listen,
hey. I
here's the
can't
best
help
part.
you're deaf.
Here's the best part. Guys, you don't need a federal task force to solve the problem. You don't need a pilot program, and you don't need Chris Spears' permission. All you need to do is raise the standards. Let me tell you, the cure to it, now that we've lit up this whole live show with all the numbers and all the discussion, let's talk about fixing the problem. Make no mistakes. This is fixable. Not with campaigns, not with hashtags, and you certainly don't need a Senate committee to do it. 5 simple things any carrier can do today could end this churn. I'm going to read them off, and I'm going to let you know what I think, and I want you to tell me in the comments or our VR studio line right now if you think I'm right. First of all, pay for all time work. As we've talked here just a minute ago, stop acting like detention, layover, and unpaid wait time don't exist. If the clock is running, the meter should be too. Give the driver what he's due. Second thing, guarantee predictable home time. 90% of these companies out here, and I know many of them I could mention, won't even think about it. Grumpy, you could probably vouch for that. Not a maybe, not a hope, but an actual plan you can work with. Not that you have to give up your truck and your vacation time, but at least let the guys have predictable home time. Drivers aren't asking to be home every single night. They're asking, just don't lie to me. Third thing,
Yes.
driver respect equipment. Go ahead, Grumpy. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
Mhm.
And that is part of the problem with a lot of this industry is drivers like myself, yourself,
Yep.
and like probably Dollar when he was all out there constantly all the time. I don't know what he does now. I know he still drives, but
Yep.
and of course with Thumper, I mean, we have a family to go home to. We'd like to go home more often. We don't want to live in the truck 24/7 all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
We
it's
realize
not like
that
it's
there's-
required to anymore.
Yeah, we realize that there's a need to go where the freight goes, and believe me, we're all flexible out here. But when it comes down to it, you know, we do have families too. So let me get to the last three. Of
Precisely.
these. Yeah, let me get to the last three of these suggestions, and then we'll come back and visit this on the other side. Third thing is driver spec equipment. A lot of times we get equipment from these mega carriers and some less than reputable fleets. They're not exactly all that dependable, much less spec for the job we're doing. And I'm sure two of these guys in this conversation tonight can vouch for exactly what I'm talking about. You want someone to sit in a truck 70 hours a week. You want to make sure that it's fit for the job they're doing, not just a plastic box on wheels. You give them the seat that fits and a cab that breathes and an APU and whatever else they need to do the job, and you're going to keep that driver in that truck a lot longer. Fourth thing, apprenticeships and mentorships. I've been big on this since I started this channel, and I think this is something that many of you miss. Stop treating rookies like they're throwaways. Actually take the time to ask vital questions. Vital questions that might suss out some of the things they're doing wrong. Take a moment, show them the right way, show them there's a better way. Pair them with the people that know how to do the job. Let wisdom train the workforce, not burnout. Stop churning over 500,000 numbers. Instead, put the serious numbers behind the idea that there's people out here like you and me that are willing to show everybody how it's done. Last thing is respect. Treat respect as a policy, not a perk. Stop celebrating the 5-year guy when you neglect the guy that's just gotten hired 5 weeks ago. Company culture is your most valuable freight and commodity. And yet many in this industry, and I do mean many with a capital many, treat drivers like they're commodities. Respect as a policy will get you a much more resilient workforce. And most fleets today aren't even doing that. That is a downright shame. Let's call it plain. We can't raise the standard while we're letting bad actors drag everyone plus the industry through the dirt. I'm talking about carriers who force solo drivers to log fake team miles. You know, you got that single driver behind the steering wheel, and he's all of a sudden, he's taking care of himself, plus Carlos too. Carlos never existed, but you're expecting to drive 21 hours and not have a wreck, right? Run illegal resets and then dare the driver to say something. Ignore maintenance until DOT flags you and puts your truck out of service, right? That's another one. Short safety compliance because it's too expensive. These are the things these bad actors are doing. And then we're reading about it in, truckin.org, or we're seeing it on Bonehead Truckers. Come on, people. These aren't innovators. They're liabilities. These people need to be stopped, found, stopped, and gotten out of the industry. That's my 2 cents right there. The longer we let these people stick around in the industry, the worse it gets. You want to raise morale? Start cleaning house. Get rid of the bad actors and put to use my 5 ideas. And I think overnight, we can make trucking great again. None of this requires an act from Congress. This is just you and me working together. You don't need MCSA, you don't need Chris Spears, and you don't need a federal pilot program. Because if even 10% of the industry just gotten a hold of these moves, well, I think you could change America real quick. So tell me, if 10% of the carriers raise their standards, do you think it would force the rest to follow? What do you think, Thumper?
I don't think it would happen overnight.
Oh, no, nothing will happen overnight. Of course.
Well, you said overnight it would happen. I mean, it's going to take time.
yeah.
I mean, but I understand your figure of speech, but you know what I'm saying. I like to pick stuff out on you and
You always do. So, I'm going to highlight a comment in the in the chat. Low pay, long hours away, bad food, no parking. It's 15, 20 hours unpaid. Waiting is theft. Truckers are exploited. No wonder 90% quit. Yes, sir. That's what I would like to change. And your name on your account says it all. I want to make trucking great again. And we together can do just that. So, Grumpy, what do you think? Do you think that if 10% of the carriers raise their standards, that we actually stand a chance of turning this industry around?
By standards, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, all the things I mentioned earlier. Let's get rid of the bad actors. Let's take seriously the idea that a driver works what a driver gets paid for, rather than being
Pay them what they're worth, treat them what they're worth. You know, that's how I see it. I mean, that's all I asked out of that last company I worked for, was to be treated fairly and paid fairly.
Yeah.
And I did a lot for that company, and there was only a few handful that appreciated it.
Well,
and then I had the ones, of course, that didn't.
You're a shining example of why I created the idea number 5. Okay. Number 5 idea that I said was all about respect as a policy. You know?
Right.
They treated you like you were just something of a relic. You were going to just guaranteed point out all the problems with trailers, which you got stuck with, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Lots of times.
And you weren't getting compensated for that. So
exactly.
They did not respect you, and therefore they should not be surprised that you're where you're at right now. Dollar, what do you think?
Oh, how deep do we want to get into this? Because there's a lot of things that should be changed, and I believe that a lot of it isn't going to change overnight. And when you get into a situation where the companies are bigger and have more employees, then we'll just take a nice number, 25.
Right.
Because then you become a number, not a person that's going to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
You're a number there to do a job.
Yep.
So when you're a number, what's your motivation to take care of your truck? What's your motivation to do your 5 points that you say?
Yep.
You know?
With all these mega carriers, that's all you are. You're just a number.
And the biggest thing is, and I'll point it out, it's great that we have ideas to change, but as long as they have a stake in the game, we're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you guys to take advantage of an opportunity. If you're watching this on the replay, take a moment, go down below. If you've not already done so, give this video, live or otherwise, a like. Become a subscriber and look into our memberships. Again, we have members out there that I'll call, like Griff USMC. If you're watching, I'm glad you're joining. I'd like to address more members. I'd like to be able to put out early videos and early replies and highlight those that want to solve problems just like us. So take a moment, go down, become a member. I would appreciate that very much. Otherwise, we're making headway to making some solutions. So aside from everything we covered tonight, what do you guys think the biggest reason drivers ultimately give up trying to stick it out in the industry? Do you think it's more on the low pay end, the bad equipment, or the home time issue? Of those 3 things, which do you think is the biggest thing we need to change in the industry today? Grumpy, what do you say?
Myself, I'd have to say it's a mixture of all of it, but at the same time, the biggest issue I have is the home time issue. That's one of my biggest things.
Okay. What about you, Dollar? What do you think?
What do I think? I think they all work together. Not one's bigger than the other.
Okay.
You know, because if you get paid percentage off of being loaded, well, what happens when you drive 5 hours and you're empty?
Yeah.
That doesn't pay.
They really don't. You are so right. Yep. Thumper, what say you?
I would have to agree with Dollar. It's everything.
Mhm.
You can't really just pick one.
Mhm.
They do. They all work together. Like the pay, the home time, the shitty equipment. You know, they sit there and promise you, oh yeah, you're gonna drive a nice truck. Everything's gonna be up to date, and then like, well, I mean, look at it. Look at Larry as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah.
worked for that one company, and from day one, he was having issues with that truck.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right. So let's rewind for a moment, shall we? Let's think about everything we talked about tonight. We told you about the article. We told you about everything at the very least, what they're doing. They told you it was a driver shortage. They told you the solution was more kids behind the wheel, more ads, more incentives. But I just showed you the numbers. You saw where 450,000 CDLs were issued last year. And despite that, 92% turnover, grinding the gears of this industry into the ground. The bad actors and everything else going on. And now you've seen the truth. The shortage is not about headcount. It's about standards. We haven't paid attention to our standards in so long, we don't even know what they are. I've just given you 5 ways in which we can change. Raise those standards. Deeply consider it. It's not about age. It's about respect. It's about recruiting, about retaining the people who've already showed up and making sure that they're qualified to do the job. And the ATA, they want you chasing ghosts. Here's the deal, guys. When you raise the standards, drivers don't leave. They line up. And when you raise it again, they stay. They build, and together, they make trucking great again. Any closing thoughts there, Thumper?
Not really. I mean, yeah, kinda, I guess. I mean, you're kind of hitting everything right on the spot. I don't know what to really say. I mean, it is. I mean, you stick together, you can accomplish stuff, but at the same time, you got to start somewhere. I mean, if you're not going to sit there, if you're just going to sit there and bitch about it to other drivers and not do anything about it or try to get a team of people to get on board, nothing's going to happen. Absolutely.
Well, and that's 90% of what we've been doing, non-stop, left, right, and Sunday. We keep complaining, we keep making issues, and these issues aren't going to fix themselves, man. You know?
No, they're really not.
Yep. Yeah. So I think a lot can be done. I think we have a lot ahead of us. So I look forward to proving Chris Spears wrong. I really do. Because I think we can.
Yeah, and lowering the age ain't gonna help nothing. It really isn't. It's just, it's one of those things. I mean, I don't know how a lot of people were when they were 18 years old, but I know me personally, I don't have the attention span to do stuff very long.
Yeah.
So I jumped from job to job, truck to truck. And I'm not saying all kids are like that, but there is a majority of them that are.
Yep.
You got to find that thing that works best for you.
Yep. Well, everything we talked about tonight isn't just a theory. It's not a proposal. It's a promise step. One we prove every time we speak the truth and show the data. Put drivers first, and the industry will follow. So now, wrap it up, Thumper, because we're gonna make this the best show ever.
Make the best. Well, I mean, stick with it. Work at it. Talk about it, but also try to do something about it. Really, I mean, that's all you can really do about it. Try to get more people to stand behind you in your beliefs. There are a lot more people out there that believe the same thing as other people do. It's just you speak louder when you stick together.
Yep.
So, and God bless everybody, EMTs, firefighters, military personnel. They don't get the love like they should. And just like Bo and I always say, we don't do it just for you and you, or for us and our families. We do it for you guys.
Amen there. God bless it. Guys, we're coming to you at least 2 or 3 times a week with Truckin' Headlines. serious attitude, serious solution for a serious industry. Look for us during the week with Truckin' Headlines, on the weekends with Truckin' Frontline. Down below, like and subscribe. Become a member if you want to support and make trucking great again. Till next time, guys, remember, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that makes the difference. Till next time, remember, keep it real, keep it safe, and keep it rolling.